Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I'm Justin, the guy who showed up late. Like, I was on time, but then, stuff happened, so I showed up to the party late.
What?
Nice.
Okay. I'm Nico, and I showed up early, I guess.
Well, I'm Dan, and I'm the guy who left early.
Okay.
That was very important.
Fun party we got going on.
You see, tonight we're reviewing Night of the Demons, the 2009 remake. So this was directed by Adam Gierasch, and it was starring Shannon Elizabeth as Angela, Monica Keena as Maddie, Edward Furlong as Colin, Diora Baird as Lily, and Michael Copon as Dex. So we'll start with a girl named Maddie and her friends who are getting ready for a Halloween party. After getting their costumes together, the friends head over to the old Brossard Manor, a creepy old house that is the site of that evening's festivities. Once there, Maddie and her friends run into Maddie's ex-boyfriend Colin, who happens to be a local drug dealer. Angela, who's kind of the person who threw the whole party, encourages everyone to have a really debaucherous evening. But unfortunately, just as things are getting good, the cops bust the party on some kind of municipal technicality, and the party ends early. What a downer, right, Nico?
Yeah, kind of like this movie. No, it's not.
Wow.
Maddie and a couple other people end up returning to the house as one of Maddie's friends actually is missing, which is not great, but thankfully they find her pretty quickly. Colin informs Angela that when the cops came, though, he tossed his drugs down a chute to get rid of him, which Angela explains that chute leads down to the basement. So everyone heads down to the basement when they discover a secret room with 6 skeletons arranged in some ritualistic manner. And Angela spies a gold tooth in the mouth of one of the skeletons, and so her natural instinct is, oh, let me just grab that from the dead body. And when she reaches for it, it pretty clearly and loudly bites her, at which point everyone else is like, what? No, it didn't. But it did.
I mean, to be fair, one dude was like, oh, it must just be like a muscle reaction or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
What fucking muscle?
Never mind that it was a skeleton. No one said they were doctors, all right? No one said that. Dan, what happens after that?
So Colin heads back upstairs and reports that the gate is locked and the key to the gate doesn't work, so they're all trapped.
This sounds like a more interesting manga. The gate is locked. We must unlock it with our chakras to move on.
Wow. So the rest of the group go back upstairs, and Angela starts to feel strange. Maddie, Colin, and another friend start to search for a way out while the rest of the group stays in the house. It is then revealed that because she was bitten, Angela actually transforms into a demon. She begins to kiss and bite the group of friends and turns them into demons as well. Eventually, the only people left are Colin, Maddie, and one of their other friends.
Oh, man. What goes down between them and the demons, Nico?
That poor other friend. Who was that
The other one.
Justin?
He who shall not be named.
Shall not be named. His name was Jason, but he shall not be named.
Colin, Maddie, and this one other schmuck. Oh, Christ. Oh, anyway. So the demons relentlessly attack Maddie's group, and they fight their way from the basement to the top floor. And on the top floor, they find a room covered in spell markings and tons of, looks like ancient runes and stuff. And they discover the true story of the manor and what is the most bogus investigation I've ever seen. But they learn that in 1925, Evangeline Broussard lived in the manor and was desperately in love with a man. He didn't return her affections, though, and so she resorted to spells in order to win him over. But unfortunately, she was tricked by all the other hot singles in her area, by 7 demons who were attempting to summon themselves into the mortal plane. And on Halloween night, because, of course, they have to bite or kiss, something to do with their mouths, with 7 people and take them over. Evangeline's maid was versed in spellcraft, you see, and she is the one who inscribed the markings on the wall to keep the demons out.
Mm-hmm. So Dan, I mean, if it's Halloween night, then there's a remedy for this solution, right?
Actually, this time, yes. They just realize that they have to hold out until daytime, and then they'll survive. After a while, the sun begins to rise, so they leave the room triumphantly. Unfortunately, it was just a trick by the demons, and it's really actually nighttime. So, over the course of the next little bit, Colin and the friend who shall not be named eventually, they get killed, and eventually only Maddie's left. She grabs some weapons and fights the demons, but realizes that she can't win. Well, morning now is just a minute or two away, so she grabs a rope and hangs herself so that the demons cannot possess her body. Now, does that make sense? No, it doesn't.
Not at all.
Because she doesn't hang herself, because it turns out she only pretended to hang herself, and she just tied a second rope around her waist.
She watched The Lodge.
Yep. Gaslighting to the extreme. And she tricks the demons into thinking that she's dead. So the morning arrives, and the demons are defeated and return to their room into the basement. Maddie walks away, remarking how stupid the demons really were to fall for that trick.
And we'll talk about this ending and that trick. But first, let's go ahead and let's talk the visuals. Nico, it's 2009. It's a Halloween party in a old, scary manor. Does this fit the bill?
It does, but I'm just gonna completely fucking sidetrack this and go to the best possible part of this visually. Bro, what the fuck was up with that, like, Houdini shit, like, I'm gonna push lipstick into my titty again? Like, why was that something that they brought back from the first movie? And how did it look better in the first one? The fucking claymation time fucking stop whatever looked better than just boop.
It wasn't claymation.
So yeah, there's your
time
fucking
stop.
visuals, Justin.
All right. Dan, how about you visually?
I liked the house, I liked the setting, but I didn't really like the demons. I thought they looked kind of cheesy. They almost looked like just people running around in masks. And for a movie called Night of the Demons, I kind of wish that a little bit more effort was put into the demons themselves. Not that it had to be like super scary or whatever, because obviously it's not really that kind of movie, but I don't know. I just wish that there was a little bit more attention to the demons.
Got you. I say from my side, in terms of the costumes, I mean, that party literally looks like parties I've been to.
Yeah.
Like, in terms
yeah.
of
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
people were wearing, I like the costume design. I also like the general aesthetic of the mansion, the manor that they were in type deal.
Yeah, it looks dope. I will give it that.
It looks cool. A lot of the action is focused on kind of three major areas. You've got like the main scene where the party goes down, like that kind of main area. You've got the basement and a couple other rooms within the basement. And then you've got the room upstairs with all the markings. So I don't necessarily think they had like the hugest budget to work with, but I thought in terms of set design, I thought they worked well. I'll probably have to echo your comments, Dan, about the design of the demons. I think
Oh, you'll echo Dan's comments.
some of those effects were a little not the greatest. I liked when they were climbing on the ceiling. I thought they did that very well in the tunnels or whatever, but it was also so dark it gave them kind of a little bit of wiggle room to try and work around that. But visually, I'm pretty much on the same boat.
The scene to me that really stood out as a negative for the demon costumes was there's a scene where there's a bathtub full of blood, and the characters are kind of like checking it out, making sure there's no demons, and then they turn around and then a demon jumps out of it, and it sort of like it like explodes in blood. And that scene was almost reminiscent of one of the iconic horror scenes of Nightmare on Elm Street, just the blood explosion out of the bed. Obviously very different tone and different, but just that kind of fountain of blood. Except out jumped this dude in just like this kind of lame suit who just like tackles one of the characters and just like doesn't do much and just kind of bumbles around. And I'm like, I don't know, like I wish that the costumes were just better. I think that scene would have been really cool if it was.
That's fair. And when I was talking about costumes, I was referring to like the normal people Halloween costumes.
Oh, sure.
That they were like wearing to the party or whatever else. But changing gears here, audio, Nico. What did you think about kind of the score in this movie?
So the score was unremarkable. I don't remember any like specific beats or like motifs necessarily. So in that it was inoffensive, but the thing that made me laugh really hard was some of the canned sound effects they used in here. I'm pretty sure they've got the Wilhelm scream
Yep.
twice. They've got the sound of the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, I think, is in one part of it. I don't remember where, but it's one of the demons. And you can tell.
All right. I will say, from my perspective, audio wise, I didn't mind it so much, except for one moment. There's this song, and the lyrics, I don't remember all of them, but the lyrics of the song are like, at Halloween, the demons come out. And like, that is a truly awful fucking song. Like, they play it at the beginning and they play it again at the end.
Literally just fuck that song.
Yeah, like, that song is trash, bro. Like,
Go off, King.
I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but
He says disrespecting someone.
no, but like, that song is like garbo. Like, they really could have done something different. Of all the music they had in this, every other song was better. Aside from like the song that was meant to be like the centerpiece song. And they play it again at the end like it's some kind of like,
Reprise or something.
yeah, exactly, like fuck you, you know, but it's like, no. Like, this song is just bad, bro. This song is bad. And like, it's like bad for the genre. It's bad for like everything. I cannot tell you how bad that song is. But in other news, the rest of it was fine for me. Nico used the word inoffensive. I would say unremarkable for me. I think it's not really anything to write home about. And as far as I can remember, there weren't really any songs that at least I know about that were like mainstream songs and like not made for the film.
It didn't have, any fucking DMX bopping or anything.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. But Dan, I'm really curious to get your take.
The soundtrack was mostly just rock songs related to Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like you were at the party. The whole soundtrack was just, hey, a bunch of, teenagers, early 20s people getting together at a Halloween party playing rock songs about Halloween. And that's pretty much the extent of the entire soundtrack. I agree with both of you. It was unobtrusive.
Ooh, okay.
All right. All right. So now let's go ahead now and let's do some comparisons. So listeners of the pod will know we've already reviewed the first Night of the Demons. How does this remake stack up to it? And which one do you like better, maybe? And what are some of the changes that actually happen here? And what are some callbacks? So Nico already talked about one, which was the whole like scene where a character, like,
It's Angela, right?
no.
No.
Oh.
In the original, wasn't it Suzanne? I thought.
I think so. I'm not
Pretty sure
100
it's
on that, but
Suzanne.
in this one it was Lily, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So Lily, I think she shoves like a tube of lipstick. It's not a tube. I don't know what you call it. A canister, a cartridge. But she takes like a lipstick thing and shoves it into her titty.
Yeah.
And then it takes the trick, because in the original one, she doesn't pull it out, does she?
No.
It just stays there.
In this one, she kind of then like pulls it out of her vaginal area with an accompanying spray of blood. And that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting that. So I guess that's kind of like trying to one up the past a little bit. But there's also one or two others. I want to get your take on it, Dan, though. So first off, do you like this more or do you like the original more?
I like the original more. I feel that this movie, I think when you said it tried to one up especially related to that lipstick scene, but I think this whole movie tried to one up the original and just didn't do it effectively. Like, I mean, specifically like that lipstick scene, that is an iconic scene in the original. And especially in like cult classics, cult horror classics, that is like one of the iconic scenes. And in this one, they're like, oh, how can we just make it even more crazy? And it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't like, it was fucking weird. And in the original, there's like a little bit of a build up to it. So when she shoves it into her titty, like, it's like, oh shit. But in this one, she just like shoves it in and you're just like, oh, okay. And then pulls it out and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, it is weird. And I feel like that kind of is the whole movie. Like, the original is fairly sexual as well, especially for a movie in the 80s. But I think on this one, they just kind of went overboard. And I think all of the good qualities of the original, they just tried to do it more in this and just didn't work out too well for me.
So there is another callback to the original with Angela does a little dance.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, to me, the dances were roughly equal, both kind of like a what the fuck type scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But Nico, as someone who did not like the original, which one do you like more, this or the OG?
I found myself enjoying this one more for pretty much the exact reasons, Dan, you said that you didn't, because it was easier for me to not take it seriously. Just like, I was openly reflecting on that as it was happening, like, oh wow, yeah, they're really going for this and kind of missing the mark. So, you love to watch a shit show, folks.
So next up, kind of going more into this, in the original movie, you know, the characters all had what they were doing essentially. They all kind of had a little bit of an established backstory before they came in, but none of the backstories really took up a large amount of time. Now, Nico, do you think there were any unnecessary plot or backstories to any characters in this one, namely Colin? Why was Colin's backstory in this movie?
I don't fucking know, man. Like, I think he must have been... His entire character persona seems to just be a foil of all the other pretty girls around him, because he looks like a scumbag and he acts like a fucking scumbag. And that's his character. There's no more depth to it than that. I'm sorry.
I mean, to be fair, he's not like a total scumbag in the movie.
He's not like a piece of shit or anything, but
I mean, he's just the friendly neighborhood drug dealer.
he's not very friendly, bro.
No.
He's kind of a prick.
He's getting them their drugs.
No, he's not. He threw him in the basement.
That's true. He literally threw him down the chute.
That's only after the cops busted the party due to Angela's lack of planning and foresight. But no, I mean, Dan, I gotta know, aside from Colin, is there anything else you kind of view to be unnecessary in this movie?
I find the first 20 minutes to be relatively unnecessary.
Oh, I'm about to joust you. Let's
Go
go.
off.
Let's
King.
go. Let's go. I'll put my armor on this time. But
All right, go ahead.
the first 20 minutes, they really get ready for this big party. And they go to the party and they party. And then the party gets busted. And then the movie actually starts. And I just don't really see a lot of point to that. I mean, yeah, sure, get ready for the party. Do that for 10 minutes maybe. But 20, 25 minutes is... that's a quarter of the movie was that, for a party that I personally don't think has much reason to be there. And in the original, yes, we do get backstories on some of the characters, but I think that their backstories and the character development that you get comes into the way they die later, or just parts of it later. So for instance, not to go back to the lipstick scene, but to go back to the lipstick scene, you know, there's part of the reason why that scene made sense in the original was because her character was always obsessed about her looks and everything. Like, that was a big part of her. So the build up to that scene is her putting on lipstick and going kind of crazy, and you kind of see her become crazy, and it makes sense. But in this one, I don't see why we needed to know about this whole drug backstory and being tied up in a whole thing. Like, it doesn't matter. And the lipstick scene, like, learning about the characters' backstories didn't really affect it later on to me. So, yeah.
Now, one thing that I want to say really quick it was actually the opposite of unnecessary. I thought it was really cool. Did you notice there was a scene with like an older lady in like a very short outfit?
Yeah, it was Linnea Quigley.
I thought that was a cool little cameo appearance. She's like wearing like the same outfit, and they got her on like the same kind of pose that she was before, because like the camera's like right there, like right on her ass.
And that's a good throwback to the original, but I don't think that builds character development or anything.
I audibly groaned at the panty shot earlier on. I have to say that.
Yeah, but it's the same one they did in the OG. So,
and I audibly groaned then as well.
Hey, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But there was certainly that, and kind of going on that same kind of route. First off, I guess, Dan, let me riposte you real quick with my own theory here. I think that the first 20 minutes are actually some of the best in the movie, because I think that this is a Halloween movie, and a lot of horror movies have taken a lot longer to set up their premise, to set up their characters and everything else. I think, the pacing of this movie at the start, at least, it moves pretty quick. Like, we see Angela designing, getting ready for the party. We see Maddie and her friends getting ready for the party too. And we also see Colin. Again, that part's a little unnecessary. Colin could have just showed up. He didn't have to like get threatened by a gangster, getting blowjobs. But then the next piece.
Wait. He was threatened by a gangster who was getting a blowjob?
Yeah. You didn't see that? The girl popped her head up and was like,
yes.
Are you about to finish yet?
That happened. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
God, this movie was forgettable. And how did I forget that?
I don't know. And then the second piece was the actual party scene itself. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it was that egregious. I thought it's a Halloween movie. It kind of builds up the whole Halloween party vibe. I was looking around my room. I changed my room light color to purple. So I was there. I was there with them.
I get you. But then after that, none of that shit matters. I don't think that it moved quickly. Because you don't need to spend 20 minutes getting ready for a party. Like, that's not moving quickly. I mean, once Angela gets bitten by the skeleton, does any of that party matter anymore?
I mean, to be fair, that's a harsh criteria to apply, because there's a lot of movies that, if we're going to judge this movie based on that, there's a lot of movies where I don't think a movie should only be reduced to what was essential for the plot.
No, whoa. That's not what I'm saying. When you spend a quarter of the movie and then you throw a quarter of the movie away, that's not just getting down to the essentials of the plot. Like, that's more than that.
I don't know. Personally, I feel like if we go back and watch the opening 20 minutes, I feel like they get to the party and they get through it relatively quickly. That's just IMO.
And I get you, but I just don't think it matters.
All right, once again, we'll have to leave it.
I agree.
I was about to say we have to leave it to the audience, but we have an interloper here, Nico. Whose wave are you riding here?
Oh, I don't got nothing to add. I just, just, Dan, you're speaking the truth.
Okay. So you back Dan. That's okay. They know the truth in the streets. The streets got me on that one. And to kind of keep going down the path of what's necessary or not, the sex scenes in this one. So one of the biggest differences between this one and the last one, the last movie did have some sexual scenes, but not quite on the level of this. Dan, you were kind of talking off the air about how, you were listening to the movie at a certain volume, and when a certain scene came on between, gosh, what was her name? Lily? Yeah, Lily. Yeah. And Dax, like Jack and Daxter. Like
Jack and Dexter.
What a fucking mental image.
Jack and Dexter's Laboratory.
Yo, I would play the fuck out of that game. Are you kidding?
They were achieving coitus together, and
achieving,
like, it was literally
very good job, all right.
But yeah, they were literally going at it for like a solid minute and a half. Like, they were just going in. And similarly, the scene I mentioned earlier where this gangster is like getting head while berating, Colin about his lack of drug dealing ability. And then, we have even more because we've got I guess kind of what always happens, but we've got, I forget her name. The chick who gets her face ripped off.
That was Suzanne.
So, yeah, I'm not 100 on all of that. But how did you guys feel about the ramped up sexuality? Is it just something to accept coming into the year 2009, that magical year?
I think that it had more to do with them trying to recapture whatever sort of hedonistic appeal the first one might have had to such people who are as, like-minded with you, Justin, who enjoy those flicks. I really think that's what it was. Like, I don't think 2009 was a particularly sexual time for anyone in particular. I mean, audience, chime in if that was just a real fucking great year for you. But, like, shit, man.
It was for me. But no. So, looking at it, though, I guess through the lens, Dan, of sometimes things are just there just to satiate the audience. Is that maybe a reason why? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think so. Again, to my earlier point, I think that they just kind of took a lot of the things, including the sexuality of the original, and just kind of ramped it up some. So I can see it. I can understand it, but I wasn't a big fan of it. I, of course, totally don't mind some of it being there and all, but I just thought it was a little much.
Do you think it maybe the length, perhaps it overstayed its welcome a little bit for certain scenes? Like, okay, you get it, like something sexual is happening in this scene, but there's like an extendo like time period where particularly one scene happens. At first, the first time I saw this, I thought maybe you needed to have like some kind of fluid contact with someone else, and that was how you like transferred the demonic stuff. Because like a kiss, like you can swap saliva. There was a different fluid that probably, Lily and Dexter, Dax, Dux, whatever the fuck his name is, swapped back and forth.
Affleck.
So, bro, if he had said that right at the moment,
I would have loved this movie.
He's going to town.
Perfect 100.
Suddenly.
Whew. All right, so as Nico regains control of himself, Dan, I need you now, okay?
Okay, I'm here for you.
So,
Okay.
if you could somehow get in a time machine, we're back in 2009, and you're in charge of this movie, but you can only change one thing, what would be one thing you would change about this movie?
Probably come as no surprise at this point, but I think I would change the first 20 minutes.
Oh,
And
really?
just, I don't know, make it a little bit more meaningful.
You want to know what I would do, Justin? I would put the Affleck duck behind the two of them, so that when they're boning, it can go. Affleck!
Nico still hasn't regained his senses, audience. Dan, so the first 20 minutes, are you just cutting it, or are you trying to like change up what they're doing?
Yeah, I think I would rework it. Or actually, maybe I would rework parts of the rest of the movie to make the first 20 minutes a little bit more meaningful, I guess. I don't quite know how I would do that, but maybe just, I don't know.
See, from my perspective, I would also change the first 20 minutes, but not in the same way as you. I would rework it so that I would make the party the central kind of point of everything.
That would have made more sense.
So you have this massive raging party going on, and in the background, you have these demons trying to like lure people alone so that they can like take them over.
That could be cool. Yeah.
But then you also have Angela and them who discover what's happening, and they're trying to stop it. So there's this massive party raging. There are some people who are trying to stop all the bad stuff from happening, and the demons are trying to kill all the people. And having a big party there would lead to a lot more blood and gore. Because a movie like this for me screams for like a body count, lots of blood, lots of that stuff. And they had the perfect excuse. They had the party. And to be honest, if at the party things had been kind of, you know, maybe the blood effects weren't as great, I wouldn't have cared. If they'd massacred like 10, 15 people, I'd have been down for that. Like, I totally would have been down. I love big body counts in movies. And I feel like nowadays, especially, we don't always get that. And sometimes I want that. Sometimes I want a big body count. So, yeah, that's what I would change. Nico, are you in control of your faculties now?
I think so, yes.
What would be your major change, sir?
I would try and level up not the sexuality aspect of it, but like the more seductive nature of like demons and stuff. Like I would try and make those interactions between the characters seem more heightened and have more actual like real tension between them. I think that would have helped carry at least some of the weight that is dropped by it not having as high of a body count and relatively, you know, less chaos and gore.
Okay. Dan, real quick, I want to talk about the demons' powers. So apparently the demons have like, I don't know, the ability to throw like projections or something, because they made the clocks all like seem like it was morning time.
Bro, they got time bewitching incense.
Time bewitching incense.
Time bewitching incense.
So there's that, which I found kind of OP, that they could like manipulate time and like fake it out that it's morning. But then also like a couple rusty nails. And specifically it has to be rusty because check this reasoning. Demons, as everyone knows, are forged from primordial elements. Iron is like an ancient or primordial element, and rust affects iron. Ergo, rusty iron would like corrupt the demons or something.
That was a little horse shit.
That didn't make much sense. They should have just stuck with silver.
Literally would have been fine.
Dan, I want you to talk to me about some of these demons' powers here, because we got, you know, some characters that can. Lily was shooting out, you know, vines, and a lot of stuff was going on here. But what do you really feel about the demons?
I thought their powers were kind of all over the place. Some of them were cool. I enjoyed the shooting out the vines and that kind of part of it too. I liked how Angela kind of made Suzanne float and then ripped off her face and titty, and that was a scene. But for all their supposed power, there's just scenes where they're just like bumbling idiots, and like the main characters would run past them and they would just like almost like zombies would just like lunge at them very slowly and half-assedly and be like, oh no, they got away, oh no. I don't know, you're just like doing all this crazy shit 20 seconds before, and now you can't move or can't do anything. Like, that was kind of weird. But in the whole like changing the time of day, that was kind of weird. Like changing all the times on the clocks, including their own watches in the room that they're like can't even get into.
That was a lot of effort.
Okay.
I was going to say the one thing that really stood out to me was Angela was able to like telekinetically move a dresser that was blocking a door inside the room that was like protected. It was a room that they couldn't get in.
Wait, you mean there's some kind of error within the logic of the film, Justin? Surely those don't happen in other places across the film's runtime.
No, but I mean, like that particular one seemed like it was a yellow card.
Yeah.
That's a yellow card offense. And also, like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just have a really good like sense of time, but like that sun came up and they were like, yep, we're good. And like the sun just like rose. And I was like, bro, nah.
Yo, that sun rose in like 5 seconds. It was like midnight and then like daylight. I was like, what?
Nighttime, daytime.
Daytime.
I was like, nah, that's not happening. That's definitely not happening. Because she checked her watch.
Yeah. Another one that was weird too is when they're trying to get into that room, the demons make all the blood pour down the wall, which at first I thought was kind of cool. And then they mar the markings, the spell markings on the wall. So the characters have to like, you know, draw it back in. But then all these arms start crashing through the wall, trying to like scratch up the markings or whatever. But they're like 20 arms. or more. Like, where did all these arms come from? There's only, what, 5 demons? 4? 4 demons? How? What? I don't understand that.
Spider demons.
Yep. Must have been. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I have no idea. But got to get the, the opinion of our other esteemed colleague here. So, Nico, in regards to the demons, I mean, are they badasses, little chicken shits, somewhere in between?
Here's the thing that I really didn't understand, and it goes back to that bit about the arms that we were talking about earlier. If they could get 20 arms, why wouldn't they have all the arms just, like, scuff up the walls, and then they'd be so fucked?
I take it that was kind of the point of the arms. I couldn't tell if the arms were trying to grab the people or scuff up the walls. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked almost like something you would see, like... I don't know, it was just weird. It's just weird. I think that their powers were really inconsistent, yeah, just in general. They had times when they were really threatening, and then others where they were just kind of, like, almost plodding on. Like, there's the part where they're in the little, like, not mine shaft, but, like, basement area, and they're just crawling on the ceiling, like, a foot every 10 seconds. Like, are you a predator or are you a slug?
I mean, hey, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult to walk on the ceiling. I know. So I agree with you, though. And I love the backstory they gave him. Like, these demons tried to take Satan's role. So he kicked them out of hell because they were so badass. And I was like, so where are they?
Speaking of the backstory, can we just say how fucking insane it is that we just get an exposition dump as soon as they enter the room? Maddie just instantly has complete comprehension of the entire story of the demons from a quick cursory glance at the wall and the runes. Like, bro, come on.
So she did read a book. After the party, they were chilling out in the living room for a little bit. She was reading. I do agree she knew a little bit too much, but she did read a little bit.
Okay.
But again, that's something that I could have done without the whole, like, trying to take Satan's position and whatever else. They could have just said, hey, I read in the book that these are demon tricksters and they're trying to come back, or they're trying to, like, wreak havoc on the mortal plane, but to do so, they need to possess 7 people. We could have left it at that. I need anything else, and we could have rocked with it. But I now want to ask you guys, favorite scenes. So, through the fire and the flames, I want to know, what scenes really touched you in a special place? Dan, how about you?
My favorite scene was when Angela possesses, or not possesses, but gives possession to, whatever, Suzanne, when they're like spinning around in the circle of the dance scene, and then she like rips her face off. That I was not expecting at all. Partially because in the original, Suzanne is the one who shoves the lipstick in her titty. So I was waiting for that scene. So I thought she was going to be around for a little bit longer. And nope, she's not. And that was definitely like a what the fuck kind of scene. And what the fuck in a good way, I think. Whereas the lipstick scene, this one was what the fuck bad. But yeah, that was my favorite scene.
All right. Nico, how about you?
I think my favorite scene was the end of it when she had that wonderful line, oh, those demons sure were dumb. Like, no, you're dumb.
I would have to say my favorite scene in this movie was most likely, there's a part where Colin and Maddie kind of run back up to this room, the guarded room where there's all the runes. And Colin goes, oh my God, if these demons aren't going to kill me, then, that gangster, the guy who was threatening him earlier in the movie, surely is. And he was freaking out a little bit. And she's like, you're so selfish. And I'm like, is he? I mean, he's lamenting the fact that not only does he have demons, but he didn't get to deal drugs. So no matter what, he's dead.
When I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
It's cold outside.
Yeah, but it wasn't cold outside. It was just he sucks at dealing drugs. So that was kind of the whole kind of big piece to it. And quick side note, Angela was like super against him dealing drugs at her party. But she was like, I want everyone fucking, I want the most debaucherous shit you can think of. And then like Colin's just like, hey, does anyone want some E? And it's like, how dare you, you fucking deviant. And I'm just like, yo, that was an odd bit of like, I specifically don't want Colin, which I was like, I don't know, maybe there's some backstory there, but that was odd. But no, my favorite scene was when they run back upstairs and she's like, you're so selfish. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. And then he like spontaneously falls through like 3 fucking floors of the house.
That was absurd.
And hits the basement. And I could only assume it was some like spell worked by the demons, but these demons seem to be able to like target their spells into the room pretty effectively because they like move dressers, they do all this bullshit. And so he falls down through to the basement and he's like, don't come down. And she's like, I totally am. And I'm like, nah, he's dead. Like, this man falling that many floors through the floor and then hitting a hard floor at the bottom, dude, your back is broken. You're done. Like, there's demons right there. He is dead. Do not go back for him. Just chalk that one up as an L. And if she'd actually stayed in that room, which she ends up running back into the room anyways, which confused the mess out of me because she steps out of the room to have like a badass scene where she shoots a bunch of them with shotguns. And by the way, in that scene, it's like kind of glossed over, but she actually discovers the most effective possible weapon against the demons. There's a little bit of like iron, like barbed wire or something like that she wraps around her fist, kind of like it's a barbed wire knuckles or something. And it's like super effective. The vine demon like touches her and she touches the thing to the vine demon and then it like burns and runs away. And I'm like, yo, you could have put one on each hand and boxed these demons up. Like, you really could have. So that was a little weird. But long story short, favorite scene was this man going through like 6 stories. And now it's time for the what would you do? Y'all ready for this?
Angela.
Yeah.
Confirmed. But we're going to go ahead now. And so it's this year. COVID's over, right? We're going to imagine here a little bit. And we get invited to this crazy ass Halloween party. So Nico pulls a Nico and he's like, you know, I think I'm going to go take a nap. I got here kind of early. I'll take a nap. But this man pulls like an Odin nap and misses the start of the party. So the cops come through. Dan, you and I are in the party, you know, having a good time. We leave and we're like, oh shit, where's Nico? And Dan's like, yo, he's probably asleep. So we go back into the house looking for Nico and we're there with, you know, Angela and all her friends and whatnot. So
Bangela.
I was going to call her Allison.
Bangela and Billy.
Bangela. Hey.
And
hey.
Buzan.
I thought you were going to say
Hamilton.
So we're all there and they're like, hey, come down to the basement. We found some skeletons.
Nah, fam.
What's your reaction?
Nah. I'm good.
All right. And we try to get out, but unfortunately these fools have already fucked with the skeletons. So like the gates are locked. What would you try to do at that point in time, Nico?
I would hope I was awake.
Yeah, you're up now. You're up now.
Okay.
You've
Yeah.
rejoined us.
Okay. Yeah, I would just, like, try and fucking climb over the walls. Like, we're a bunch of tall motherfuckers. I think we got this.
Yeah.
We can just, like, boost each other up. Like, we're so good.
My favorite part is when they were looking for an exit, there was like foliage and they're like, no, we can't get past that. I was like, yo, all right, I guess. But Dan, so we bring ourselves back into the house after being requested and we see like the demons start to attack. So it's the 3 of us. What's her name? Help me out here.
Angela?
Bangela.
Not Bangela.
Billy. Buzan.
Maddie?
Yeah. So it's Maddie and her, you know, ex and the 3 of us and the unnamed soldier. And
Not the other friend.
so we're all here and they're like, hey, we just have to last till sunrise. What would your plan be to stay alive through the night?
Sleep. Bro, think about it. You go to sleep and next thing you know, you're good. Right?
All right.
My
Dan's,
man just did a speed run any % complete on the horror movie.
They can't trick you because you're asleep. I mean, it's a win-win situation.
This is incredible, folks.
I guess, okay, so Dan went to sleep. Nico, what are you about to do?
I mean, if I say Dan knock, I'm be like, all right, true. I'll probably just knock as well. Because I trust Dan's judgment, okay? Dan's a smart motherfucker. This dude's
Thank
an
you,
Eagle
thank you.
Scout.
So Maddie and them go and fight and die and whatnot, and then Maddie like jumps off and fake hangs herself. And I guess I saw y'all two fall asleep, and so I just kind of like posted up in the corner and started freestyling with my headphones in. So I guess that's pretty much what happened. And then
You would have to rap battle the demon.
This sounds like an actual night in college.
Actually, yeah.
so Maddie then runs off and like jumps off the roof, and like we wake up like, oh shit, why did you? It's morning time. Like you didn't have. Okay. And then she like loosens herself because again she was like, demons are dumb, and like walks away completely unharmed. But the three of us are still in the house and the demons all died, and we look at each other. What's the moves?
Take the sound equipment.
Dan, what's your number one moves? What are we doing?
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
True.
It might have to be that way, bro. It might have to be that way. So it's been a while since we had one, but yeah, DOTD would totally stomp this.
I think we would, yeah.
Now,
Not at all what I expected.
even if we had to fight the demons, I feel like we'd be okay. I feel like we just like, bro, like just retreat back to the room and you be all right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just do that. So now I want to go over the critic review. Oh, buddy. Ouch. This one's got a 33% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes and
Christ.
a 25% from the audience.
Oof.
That's lower than I gave the first one. Holy shit.
And the words of the immortal Bonner, that's a big ouch. So I guess if you have any criticisms we haven't touched upon, let them out now. But I want to get the numbers. I want to get the scores up. So Dan, I don't want you to lead because I've asked you to lead too many times recently. Nico, take back your throne.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so I don't think we addressed it on the pod yet, but there's multiple scenes where there are actual continuity errors because it goes back and forth from there being daylight coming in the windows and not. Literally, they could have just walked outside halfway through the movie and been done. Like, you're so good. It's fine. You survive. Nothing happened. But instead, we're left with this. I had a better time with this than the first one, but I think it is a... this is difficult. I'm going to give it a... I'll give it a 38.
Oof. Oof. I'll remember this. I'm not as angry as Vampire Hunter D, though. I'm relatively
That's fair.
calm.
That's fair.
Relatively calm. Dan, I want to get your number here.
So I think you all can already guess that I'm not a big fan of this one. I wasn't a huge fan of the original, but I thought it was all right. And this one, I just liked even less. It just didn't do it for me. I think I'm going to have to give this one a 32.
Oh, shit.
Oof. Oof. Well, I'm going to say this. I didn't really answer the question. I dodged it like a coward about which one I preferred more. So I actually do prefer this one. I think that the way that I was looking at this, if we were all watching this together, kind of like we saw Aquarium of the Dead,
Probably be a good time.
I think we'd have had a good time. This movie for me falls into the category of dumb horror movie that's just there for fun.
It's like Beavis and Butthead if they did a slasher.
I think it's kind of... Dan, you remember the movie we watched with like the fucking snow sharks, like avalanche sharks
Oh,
or
yeah.
some shit like that?
What?
Like that movie is not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. It's just dumb fun. And I think of this movie as dumb fun. I think it gets you in the Halloween spirit. Now, all that to say, I give this one a 50. The fun factor brings it up a couple points for me, and I'm a big fan of Shannon Elizabeth. Don't at me, bro. But I mean, I don't know. Like that's just where it's at for me. I can't really say this is really great, I can't even say, and I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I actually don't recommend this movie.
Wow.
Because I don't think it's something that, no matter what you're in the mood for, if you're in the mood for like a sexy kind of movie, there's better out there. If you're in the mood for a scary movie, there's better. If you're in the mood for a Halloween movie, there's better. If you're in the mood for something that touches all three, there's still better. So I can't recommend it when there's so many more better movies out there. And this one honestly really ain't that great. It's a fun time. It's cool. Just not that great. So I'm assuming you two also don't recommend?
Nah.
Color me shocked. Yeah, no.
Yeah, fair. So it also doesn't get the golden seal of approval. Not even magical, huh? Not even magical on this one.
I don't think it's good enough.
It doesn't have enough magic.
I don't think
Nope,
it's.
not at all.
Yeah, there's no magic in the bad.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. All right. Well, any last words before we wrap this one up?
Affleck.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. That's been it from us here at Don't Open That Door. If you happen to go to a mystical Halloween party where people start getting turned into demons, you can just leave. Feel free
Or
to.
take a nap. You'll be fine.
Or be like us and take a nap. But regardless of what you do, take care of yourselves. And as always, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.